about that? So here we are. It's another early morning, and this is the back porch, and our good friend Ace is over there doing his morning exploring. And I thought about a few things this morning. First of all, the Giacomo Turra situation. The reason why this is bad, the reason why this is such a bad thing, and this'll tie in to Nashville. This will tie into endorsements. This will tie into a lot of things. Here's the deal, man. If a lot of players over the decades, over the years, they would get equipment for endorsements. They would have, situations like that, and then maybe not fulfill the obligations of the companies that gave them the instruments, and that would create a bad situation. I can remember one of the touring acts that I was with, and one of the main guys, one of the artists, had a relationship with one of the big kind of boutique companies out there, right? And the guitar player that had the slot before me, he had, I don't know, they had given him a guitar or something, and I don't know if he sold it. I don't know what happened, but it's like, the artist still had a good relationship with the company, but I would not be able to get those guitars. I would not be able to get a endorsement deal with that company because of the actions of the guitar player before me. Now look, here's the thing. Here's the truth of the situation. Companies take a chance when they give people endorsement gear. They take a risk because that is a volatile, environment. You can get fired at any time. Things can happen on the road and off with his head. And that's the reality of that world. And let's face it, man, musicians are not the most stable people in the world. And man, back in those days, before the internet, people would, take things to pawn shops when they needed a few extra bucks. Let's say the artist doesn't gig as much, or gigs fall through, or things happen, and then the artist needs money to pay the bills. A lot of times endorsement gear would end up getting lost in the pawn shop. Easy come, easy go. And that is why the situation with Giacomo Turra is bad for all of us. It's bad for everybody. One, that what he's done to the players that he ripped off. And I watched the testimony of a well-known and incredible guitar player, and the terrible things that Turra's fans were saying to him when he complained about getting ripped off, and then how bad he felt. It makes you feel like you're not worthy, that this poser, and that is a term that I'm going to use, poser, man. What is a poser? Well, back in the Sunset Strip days, a poser would be somebody that had all the image, that would walk into a room and he would look the part of every bit of a rock star: the boots, the jeans, the right clothes, the accessories, walking around. There would be people that would go to school like that at GIT. They would dress as if they were going on stage. And look, man, there is a time for that. There's a time to put on your clothes. There's a time to dress up your performance and all that, whatever that entails, and whatever genre you're in. If you're Joe Bonamassa, you put on the three-piece suit. And that's what he does. He classes it up when he does his live gigs. Here's the deal, man. You can, dress up, but if you don't have the goods, Joe Bonamassa, of course, has the goods, but if you don't have the goods, you're just a poser. And there would be guys like that on the strip, guys that would spend money on tattoos, have their arm, freshly tattooed, and, have dressed like a rock star every day and all that. And man, when you heard them play, it just wasn't there. And so that's the case of Giacomo. Giacomo is a poser, right? A funk poser is the same as a rock poser, is the same as a country poser. I think every genre of music has posers. It's a very real thing. Reggie Wooten used to call him a joker. Yeah, that joker. Man, look at that joker. And it's a similar thing, man. Here's the way it affects like guys like me, all the YouTube guitarists. There's the claim that he took a boutique guitar. Guy had built him a boutique guitar and said, I need you to do 2 videos on the guitar. I said, oh yeah. And he agreed to do 2 videos, but then didn't do the 2 videos and then sold the guitar. Why? And how did the guy know? Because it was a one-of-a-kind guitar. And the guy saw somebody else posting a picture with that guitar. And that is disappointing. That's not fulfilling your commitments. That's not doing what you're supposed to do. And that is why this whole Giacomo Turra thing, it's deeper than just some guy, fooling people or being a poser. It helps ruin relationships with companies. Something that I'm trying to get my foot in the door. I'm trying to start doing. It's doing more of demos and things like that. It just, for me, it breaks up the, monotony of talking every day. I could do talking videos all day with no playing clips. And some people like that. Some people said, what, you're making me wait through your playing I just want to hear what you have to say. Okay, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you wanting to hear what I have to say. Different people want different things. Some people want more playing. Some people don't want to hear any playing. It is what it is. But this Giacomo Turra thing, it hurts everybody, man. It hurts everybody because it hurts the players that he ripped off. It hurts the companies entrusting other players. If you don't fulfill your obligations, if you're just trying, and here's the thing, man, this is the symptom of somebody who is just trying to make a buck, who's just trying to do it at any cost. He doesn't care about anybody else but himself. I heard one of the guys who was ripped off saying, he feels bad for his mental state. I don't feel bad for his mental state because he didn't think about anybody else's mental state when he was doing this stuff. He didn't think about the mental state of the boutique builders, small builders who spent their own money to give him an axe to try to build their company. He doesn't think about the mental state of what it does to a player that doesn't have the following that he has and then sees his hard work and playing ability stolen valor is what this is. It's the same thing with somebody walking around with medals, on their jacket, and they didn't, they had no service. It's stolen valor. It ruins relationships. It ruins the potential for guys like me to get opportunities to demo gear. And it's just bad all around, man. But here's the thing, man. Not everybody is a bad person. And I think, these companies realize that. You have to take a chance. You're always taking a chance on somebody. You're always taking a chance with endorsed gear. And look, man, when I was given gear out on the road, I would always try to use it. But, there was a pretty well-known amp brand that, was giving people gear to play out on the road. And I thought, man, rather than taking my gear out on the road, why don't I get with this company and use their amps, right? And so you have a very brief window to try something new like that. And so sound check came. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make the switch. I'm going to use this other brand. They've given me an amp. Here's the amp. I put the amp in the rack. I go to sound check. And man, I cannot dial in my sound with this amp. And all I needed was a clean pedal platform. All I needed was a decent, semi-clean tone that I could, style with my pedal board and get, some decent sounds. I just couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. And so I've had to very quickly switch back to my old rig and take the head out of the, rack. And I informed the guy. I said, hey, man, I tried the amp. It doesn't work for me. And so, we arranged that when I was in California that he would pick it up and, take it back and all that. And man, you gotta be honest and straight up with people. And look, a lot of people know if you get an endorsement guitar and imagine you get the guitar, but the artist doesn't like it, doesn't like the way it sounds, doesn't like the way it looks. And you're in a bind, because you've accepted this gear, and you've accepted it in some ways because of the artist that you're playing for. But what if the artist doesn't like the way it sounds? Then you're kind of in a tight space, man. You're better off doing the right thing and telling them right away. Said, look, I can try to use it sometimes, but the artist doesn't like the way it sounds, or he doesn't like this, or he doesn't like that, or this instrument is not working for me, or I'm not going to be able to fulfill the obligations that you want me to fulfill. Give it back to them. You don't take the instrument like Giacomo did, do one video and then sell it. That's just being a bad person, man. That builder built something for him. Now look, I've had situations where builders have given me instruments, and man, there was an issue with the instrument, and I spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars trying to get it, make it right so I could play it on the gig. I loved the way the instrument looked. I thought I could make it work. There was an issue, and I wasn't able to fix that issue. Here's a free instrument that I ended up spending $600 trying to make it playable. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes a company will send me something that doesn't work, and I'll just flat out tell them, hey man, this thing is broken or something's going on, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. So these frauds and all this kind of stuff, man, it runs much deeper, affects more people than just the jerk who gets caught. It affects everybody that's in this business. It affects us all. And that is why it is an absolute terrible thing what was done. And Giacomo needs to get some help, get some mental help, bro. I am not going to be your counselor. I am not going to be, I'm not worried about his mental state. He needs to take care of his own mental state, just like I got to take care of my own mental state and, dealing with the stuff that I got to deal with. And that is the reality of the world that we live in now.